tells me I'm
If
handsome.
I just keep if I just keep telling you that, I'll keep you off Hinge.
You might
Like, so
actually.
wow, what's been going on? Well, I don't know. This guy just keeps telling me I'm so good looking and I'm awesome, and I just, I just haven't been busy on there.
I met this guy on the
Oh
internet.
my gosh, how
It's
gay is that? Like, what a homo. He'd be like, what a homo. Who is this guy?
oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw him in the basement. Hold on.
Literally down the stairs. He's gonna start howling, bro. Da, 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 da.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, Ryan, I'm glad you're here, dude. I know we have a couple minutes today, and I know your story is so helpful and it's powerful for other guys just to hear other dads just like you about what's going on, the nitty gritty of, sometimes what coaching looks like, what it is, what it's not. So we'll just start from the top and just ask you, what sort of, where are you and what sort of work are you doing currently?
Yeah, my name's Ryan McDaniel, and I'm an injury attorney in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Beautiful. Gorgeous out there now, isn't it?
It is.
All
Come
right.
visit.
So tell me a little bit. I know there's a few facets that we've been working through, but I would say, before you started the program, where do you feel like you were at then versus now?
Yeah, I had I called it easy divorce, but I had a really bad last year in my marriage, and I have two little girls, and I'd been putting a lot of work in. I was fortunate enough where I have a big family, lots of good friends, great support system. I'd been through, I jokingly say thousands of hours of therapy, but I don't know how far off that is. And I felt good. Everything in my life was not, it was static. It was good. It was consistent, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. It's just something had left me unsettled. I was in some of the best shape of my life, and I'm a former college athlete. I've been at the same law firm for almost 15 years, but I felt like I was on like a spin cycle, felt a little stuck. And through Instagram and, God working the way he does, came across your profile, and, a few talks later, that's when we got started.
And where do you feel like from being in that spot where you're, stuck? What's it like now for you? What's the difference?
It's, it, it's interesting because I would say for you and we've been working together for about 5 months now. And I feel like I came a long way from like the depths of my divorce. And I feel like I've come just as far in that, 5 months as you and I working together in the, 2.5 years before that. I'd say I think what's benefited me a lot is I've been able to slow down and be present with my kids, um, which I don't know that I was aware that I was not doing before. I felt like I was still a good dad, but man, I feel like our relationship has gotten even better. I'm very present with my kids. I feel like my consistency and, um, professionally, parentally, with friends is better than ever. And I think one of the things too, it's just allowed me to filter out. I was always someone that wasn't afraid of a challenge, was probably guilty of taking on too much. And I think my deference to things, or what I want in my life and what I don't, has gotten a lot better. And I've noticed that as I've started to say no or cut things out, things haven't changed. If anything, it's just continued to get better.
Yeah, you said something, I think even today, we were saying these past, few weeks, for you and even with your girls have been some of the best for you. When you say that, like, first, what does it mean? And then secondly, like, what does it look like?
What it looks like is it looks like me listening more. Like I'm picking up on a lot with my daughters, and I'll tell you, I'll share the story now that I said to you earlier today, which was both my girls were supposed to go to a princess brunch with me on Sunday, and my younger daughter had kind of been saying she didn't want to go, and then finally Sunday morning before we were supposed to go, she said, "Daddy, um, I want to go. I don't want to go to the princess brunch. I wanted mommy to pick me up early." That would have killed me
Yeah.
ago, but I'm sitting there thinking, my daughter was just comfortable enough to tell me exactly how she felt. And, to my ex-wife's credit, she came over and picked up my daughter. And then, it was an opportunity. Now I had one-on-one time with my older daughter, who's a lot more active in sports than my younger daughter. And so I had the one-on-one time with her that I usually get with my younger daughter, and it was one of those things that would have hurt me a few years ago, just turned into a positive experience, not only for me, for both of my daughters and my ex-wife from it. But it's what it looks like in general with my kids is I'm more present. Things everything's slowed down. And it gives you the opportunity to lead by example. You've helped me lead by example a great deal with my daughters. um, Not that I was doing bad things before, but now I know why I'm doing things. I'm able to supplement it with readings that you and I go through, things I go through on my own. And by leading by example for them, you become, I've said this to you a couple of times, I'm becoming the person who I always thought I was.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think it's huge for dads to hear, that it's not just an idea of being a good dad, but that there's, programming and discipline and accountability and awareness that comes in because, there's a lot of things that you can talk about or want to do. And it's great to see that you're not just executing on them, but then even for you to be like, man, like I'm actually, I can see I'm crushing it and seeing that. So I always like to hear that for you as well. And that's huge, especially for other dads too, because sometimes they just don't believe that it's possible for them. So let me ask you this. What do you feel like has been the biggest result that we've achieved so far?
I you- I was someone who was always usually pretty regimented, and I took it to another level. I mean, now it's just, I'm at the point where it's funny, where I'll wake up and before my eyes are even open, I'm thanking God for, the air in my lungs and another day. And it's going to be the best day because it's the one He's given me today. And it's just all the finding the positives in every situation. You may get crushed for a second, like, oh man, this stinks. This isn't how I wanted to go. But you something good's there. You just got to dig down and find it. And it's one of those coming. Like I would love to go back to talk to myself 3 years ago now. It seemed like the time was ticking backwards. Everything was going wrong, and it's just the mindset shift. Which again, I had a great support network, but just being able to put things into practice. Carving out time to read every morning, carving out time to read every night, slowing down, and the amount I always prayed every morning. Then it was these oftentimes twice a day. Now I would just the little prayers that are working their way and that help me throughout the day. And it's not just asking for something, expressing gratitude. That's been the big change for me.
Yeah, it's huge. If there was a guy out there that's watching this, what would you say the experience is like for you working with me? What's it been like for you?
I think that I'm a guy that at work, I'm fortunate enough to have good, healthy amount of support staff, and it's helped me to get more organized. You've helped me put the things in front of my face that are important in my life, and it's just about getting better at what you're already good at. What are your strengths? How can I make these things better? It's not ignoring your deficiencies. Everyone has them, but it's really embracing and leaning into what you're good at, and what's
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. How do you how much would you say humility plays a role in the coaching experience for you?
got to be honest with yourself. It's
Yeah.
a
It's hard, isn't it?
it's very hard. I'm choosing my words carefully right now. It's a bad
You can
in
say it, bro. You can these you can say it.
a process. It's
Yeah.
and if it's only going to turn out as good as you want it to be. And fortunately, I'd say you handle it with kid gloves at time. Like you know what buttons you're pressing. I'll come to you ashamed or upset with myself, and I'd walk out feeling better from it. Um, but it's only because I'm
Well,
coming.
I want to kick you down too.
Well, that happens too, but uh, it's a matter of there's a lot of honesty with yourself, and it's really the highs. You can't get too highs in the highs. You can't get too lows in the lows. You're going to have peaks, you're going to have valleys, but you just got to find that steady that grounded flat piece of land for yourself. And I think that's been very beneficial. You've been very beneficial to me in that regard.
Yeah. Is there a piece of the coaching style from myself that you feel like has been the most helpful? Anything that stands out on that side for guys that are watching?
I would say that I think guys who get divorced can be very defensive or cynical of the world around them. And with you, I was always at ease. From the moment we started talking, I felt like I knew you for a while. We did have some commonalities, but that's only continued to grow, which I think you've learned me. I've gotten to know you pretty well throughout the process, and I would say to guys too, sometimes it's hard to go to talk to someone you've even been friends with for a very long period of time. But I know if I text you or call you, we have meaningful conversations about the things that come up throughout the day that would have derailed me, a couple years ago.
Yeah. That's good, dude. If there was a guy that was on the fence about jumping on board and starting like getting into a coaching program like this, what would you tell him?
Do it. You got to ask yourself at that point in time. Question I asked myself is what I'm doing working. It wasn't necessarily taking me backward, but I wasn't getting to where I needed to go on my own. And I think that's the biggest thing is when you're going to encounter people throughout your life who are just gonna they might know the screw to turn, and that's what I think that our relationship has become. You've taught me what where the pressure points are and what needs to get focused on.
How hard is it for, or how hard was it for you to even make that jump? Because, you know, on the outside, like you just said, you know, everything was looking pretty good. And I hear thousands of dads in that same scenario. And they know it's not maybe what they want, but they also are so terrified of the unknown that they just stall out. So what do you feel like took you to actually jump across that line?
I did a lot of self-examination. I mean, like, I playing sports growing up, like I was always able to draw on that. And it was what made you better. Oftentimes it's
Mm,
doing the things you don't want to do,
yeah.
staying this or I wrestled, going against that guy that beats you up at practice even more, and it's that's kind of what it was. It was for me, it was like, well, what have you got to lose? And I think now I would, working with you, I wouldn't even ask that question anymore. I'd ask myself, what have you got to gain?
Yeah.
And those are and then that opens up a whole new world.
Yeah. Well, thanks, dude, for just taking a couple minutes. And I know there's just like there's a lot of dads out there, and there's so many that are in the shoes that you were in and I was in. And it always helps just to kind of let them see something that, that it's possible, for them as well. So I just want to say thanks for your time. And I think most importantly of any coaching experience is the humbleness of and the openness of the individual, because I think that is what takes it from going fast to like a light speed in your life. And I just want to acknowledge you on that, dude, because it's not easy for someone like yourself that's intelligent, has a great work experience and career to then say, "Oh, I need help." So I just want to acknowledge you on that. Just say thanks, dude. So
I appreciate it, man. I really do, and the whole experience has been great, worth it, and I sincerely, honestly recommend it to anybody, and I have, as you know.
do that. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, thanks for your time, dude. I'll let you roll. I know you're on the East Coast and it's dark out there and freezing cold. So love you,
Cheers.
dude. Thanks again, brother.
Love you too, man. Have a good
I'll see
night.
you, man. Ciao.